Hello and good morning. Can everybody hear me okay? Somebody can just do a thumbs up, please.
Okay.
Brilliant, thank you. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for joining us today on our joint webinar. My name's Nicola Hollins, and I'll be joined by colleagues that will be speaking at different parts of the agenda. Before we start, if I can just start with the introduction. So we have Liz Howard from Quantum and Richard Love from Quantum as well.
Hello.
We also have speaking Janine Reid, who is our Business Development Manager for the Green Economy here at NOCN, and myself, Nicola Hollins, who is Sector Manager for Engineering, Advanced Manufacturing and Green Economy. Without further ado, in terms of housekeeping, if we can kindly ask for you to remain on mute during the session, just so that we prevent any background noise. This session will be recorded, so please be aware that this will be recorded and shared later after the presentation, so you have access to the slides as well as the recording. And if I can kindly ask, just to enable us to channel any questions that are coming through from the audience, please, if you would kindly use the chat facility as opposed to the Q&A, it just enables us to keep on top of things. Well, just to start off with, I suppose I'd better let you know who we are. So NOCN Group is an international charity which delivers future fit skills solutions for social impact for colleges, training providers, employers and individuals. Majority of our provision spans across 5 specialisms: preparing for work and life, construction and the built environment, engineering, manufacturing and the green economy, health and social care, and education and management. And in each one of those specialisms, we cover a variety of qualification provision. We offer apprenticeships and endpoint assessment, regulated qualifications, assured courses, endorsed provision, job cards, and short online courses. We also have, joined with us on the call, is Quantum Training, who are driven to address the UK's green skills shortage by providing world-class training solutions in low-carbon technologies, sustainable building practices and retrofitting. And to this point, I'm now going to hand over to Liz Howard from Quantum, who is going to talk about the partnership that NOCN and Quantum have in place. Thank you, Liz.
Thanks, Nicola. Okay, morning everyone, thanks for joining us. I'm Liz Howard, I work for Quantum Group. I am a curriculum developer and I lead the product development area. So in terms of our strategic partnership between NOCN and Quantum, we've been focused on, attempting to close this green skills gap that we all hear about in construction and the built environment sector. So combining NOCN's reputation as a leading awarding organisation and Quantum's hand-on expertise in renewable technologies, we wanted to enable the integration of curriculum with practical facilities to gain that, gain that hands-on experience. So Quantum, bring a deep industry knowledge and experience in renewable energy, and we've been co-developing an Ofqual regulated level 2 qualification that we're here today to talk about, which blends theoretical understanding with high quality practical training equipment. We wanted these courses to contribute to the creation of a highly skilled, competent green workforce and covering areas linked to low carbon technologies like solar, heat pumps, and of course retrofit. So for NOCN, we know they're committed to becoming one of the leading awarding organisations for green skills, investing significantly in the development and the expansion of courses, qualifications that support the UK's transition to a net zero economy. So we recognise the synergy between Quantum and NOCN to ensure that the partnership could leverage both of the organisations' strengths and deliver that industry relevant future fit training. So we're working hard together to identify and overcome barriers to green skills development in colleges. such as practical learning and staffing. We wanted to ensure that learners have access to both theoretical and practical training that meet the current and future industry needs. And we know that the collaboration is guided by a shared vision to support the evolving need of the construction and the built environment sector, aligning course development with, industry's direction and the UK's sustainability goals. So we're off by offering this regulated, accessible qualifications. We want to emphasise the sustainability and the employability. And the partnership is equipping learners, we hope, with the expertise required to drive that UK's transition to a greener economy, which supports the learners and the career progression and the national net zero targets.
Sorry, Liz, sorry to interrupt you just quickly. It seems like we've got a bit of a glitch on the slides here somewhat on the presentation. So just checking in, we should have completed, if we can just show to the audience slides 6, 7 and 8, please.
Oh, sorry.
So, no, it's fine. This slide shows the strategic partnership between NOCN and Quantum, and really around what Liz has said in terms of the courses and qualifications that go hand in hand with the practical equipment and skills development. And then on the following slide, which I think we've spoken through.
So we're going to start this one now, the introduction.
Perfect. Thank you, Liz. Apologies
Slide
for interrupting.
Right, no problem. Okay, so in terms of looking, if we go to the next slide then please, just to think of the development now of the qualification. So obviously we recognise this gap here, and if we think about the UK's renewable energy sector, we know that there's a significant shortage of the skills professionals to meet net zero targets, and we know that there's an absence of accessible training options for individuals seeking to enter that or transition into a career focused on renewable technologies. So with that, the action that came from recognising that gap, we wanted to develop a level 2 with industry partners, and that's what was, the FPORTSE, it's a long title, Fundamental Principles of Renewable Technologies and Sustainable Energy. So that, aimed to provide that foundational knowledge and practical skills, which we, recognise as the core of renewable technologies. And we wanted to equip learners with the job readiness for renewable, the renewable energy industry, and support that UK's low carbon economy. So that resulted in the qualifications, creating, we hope, a clear pathway for, new entrants or people wishing to change careers, tradespeople, pivoting into the renewable energy sector. We wanted to address the workforce shortage and support, the ambitious carbon reduction goals. So this course offers training without the prerequisites, making that career within renewable energies more accessible. Okay, next slide then, please. Okay, so here is a breakdown of the course. So we have the award and the certificate. Okay, the award being the shorter one, both written at the level 2 academic level. Again, just obviously that for us provided that sort of stepping stone, which we thought was lacking within this sector. And it goes across the 5 core renewable technologies: solar photovoltaics, solar thermal, electrical vehicle charging, battery energy storage, and air source heat pumps. Again, in essence, we wanted to ensure that there was the theory meeting those practical skills and application of those skills, as well as the design element, which is added onto the certificate, which will enable learners to then go into the design factors around projects linked to those renewable technologies. So we feel that it's a very important milestone, for reflecting the commitment to addressing the growing skills gap. Okay, and we collaborate with our manufacturer partners, namely Daikin, and also we have been developing in the background a ground source heat pump with Kenza. So Quantum, we wanted to meet that growing demand for the new entrants in the renewable energy sector. And we think it's a balance of that practical hands-on learning and the theoretical knowledge, giving learners that essential foundation, and also something that we also know is of great importance is the soft skills, those employability, the essential employability skills, which enable people to also see the other side to what they're learning in terms of dealing with customers. It could be customer care, how to handle problems, or anything related to meeting targets or a budget. So we feel that this does, enable that as a stepping stone as well, moving forward. So the level 2 and the level 2 award and certificate, they provide that practical understanding and the practical skills, again linked to those renewable technologies. The importance again is that it builds on the beginning of why we're here, why are we in this mess, why have we got these net zero goals, and talks about fossil fuels and explores the history and the impact of fossil fuel usage. If you don't know anything about that sort of thing, which I know a lot of adults still, you give them different buzzwords. It is a tricky subject, sort of takes you back to your science lessons in school. It touches on global warming and looks into climate change and the broader implications of where we are now in the world. Touches on net zero and climate actions, so that learners are going to explore the strategies that are accessible for carbon neutrality and understanding that role of the renewable technologies in mitigating climate change. So learners can then also choose between the different renewable technologies that, and there's different units that cover that in terms of air source heat pumps, solar thermal, and then what we call the electrical ecosystem, which is solar PV, electrical vehicle charging, and battery storage solutions. So we give the learners, a comprehensive understanding, and again, just this stepping stone into renewable energy systems and equipping learners with the knowledge and the skills needed to design, install, and maintain the sustainable technologies. And also, again, like I said, that essential customer interaction, again, which we see is vital for career progression. So again, like quantum, I mean, one of our our ethos really is the strong emphasis on practical learning. So our experience, it demonstrates, successful strategy because we have a lot of installations which work on the hands-on experience. Okay, so the training facilities that we have installed basically enable learners to engage with the technologies and get them ready to work in that field. Okay, so it works hand in hand with facilities. Again, theory and practice, really important. And so in terms of construction training centres around the country, it's there to provide that trajectory to net zero, equipping a future ready competent workforce, we hope. So I think it's really important to talk about who can take these qualifications. So they're suited as a bolt-on to existing full-time study programs in the building services sector. I'm sure there's a few maybe colleges listening today. It's further education colleges and part of an additionality or enrichment around green construction. But it's also flexible in that it's accessible to anyone with an interest in renewable energy. So regardless of your background or your prior experience, if you sat there thinking, oh, could this be me? Could I do this course? If you're looking to break into that green energy section in terms of your upskilling, then this would be the course for you. Okay, so we've got it could be educational providers, so colleges or training organisations who are trying to incorporate green skills curriculum into their programs. New entrants into the sector. Again, if you're eager, you want to start, you've read about it, it's always on the news. There's always a need for this, career in renewable energy. And if you're wanting to shift to that more sustainable pathway, if you wanted to reskill and you were a tradesperson, a professional, obviously an electrician, plumbers, or heat engineers who want to transition, then this would be a great foundational way for you to advance into the industry. And then companies who wish to train teams in renewable energy skills and meet that growing demand for low carbon solutions, this would also offer a flexible pathway into that. So again, there's a lot of statistics about the rapidly expanding skills workforce that's needed to meet the net zero targets. By 2050, there's 150,000 heat pump installers are needed. So this is really like a call to action, and we know that action is required for this. Okay, so we believe that this level 2 is part of that solution. Okay, unlike short courses that upskill existing tradespeople, it's designed for new entrants. Okay, so it's really important that that message is you know, understood. So we hope that, you know, our sort of collaboration, you know, alongside NOCN, okay, will help with the development and the regulation of courses like this. And we just want to, you know, highlight the shared vision that we've got in addressing the green skills gap with the UK's focus on renewable energy. And we hope this course is positioned to provide learners with the skills needed to contribute to that transition to a more sustainable and energy efficient future. Okay, right, I will pass on then to the next person, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Just to look at how the FPORTSE regulated qualifications tie in with other provision, and through the collaborative partnership that NOCN and Quantum have, it's actually opened our focus in terms of provision that can add value in and around the current FPORTSE provision, both the award and certificate, but also to map progression towards the ultimate apprenticeship standard, being the low carbon heating technician. Could I have the next slide, please? Oh, that's quite small. Is there any way that, apologies, it's quite small. There's a lot of information on this slide. If you can see, sort of, there's a dotted line sort of 3/4 down the slide. Everything above that is what relates to the award and certificate in the fundamental principles of renewable technology and sustainable energy. Across both of them, these will be, all of them that are underlined are actually hyperlinked. So when you get the slide, you will actually have direct access to the necessary qualifications. So in the central block, where we talk about level 2 award and certificate, so just what differentiates the award from the certificate here is the award, which is the shorter qualification, discusses everything around the concepts for the provision. The certificate expands more as it includes the design aspect as well. Across the certificate and the award, we have 3 sort of mandatory core units, if you will: fossil fuels, global warming, and net zero and climate change. And then in the darker blue boxes just below that, you will see that there is the awards pathways in the smaller box of the 2, and certificates pathways to the right of that box. And where we have the pathways there, you can see very easily how it does define the concepts that Liz did refer to, in terms of everything that sits in the sort of the renewable sort of energy around the air source heat pumps, the solar thermal fundamentals, as well as domestic energy. And obviously in the right box, you will see the only thing that differs there is just that extra design unit in each one of those pathways. We also have an air to the very left of the slide, where you can probably see air source heat pumps. That is linked to an assured provision that we've written and have available around the installation and maintenance of air source heat pumps. And then further over to the right of the slide, we have 3 blue boxes again, which hit around solar PV, electrical vehicle, and battery storage. So with solar PV, we have quite a broad range. So we have a unit-based provision, which is an introduction to solar PV. We also have an assured course in solar PV insulation for roofers, level 3 award and level 3 certificate in solar PV installer and operator. And then last but not least, certified solar photovoltaic practitioner, which is a regulated provision. So the keys there: A is for assured provision, U is for a unit-based provision, and R is for a regulated qualification provision. As you'll see, the electrical vehicle and battery storage are currently in development, but are very, very soon to come to market. So just to make you aware of that. So leading on from that, the progression route would be into sort of looking at the low carbon heating technician apprenticeship standard. And in doing that, appreciating that this apprenticeship standard was really kind of new to the world, attracting a lot of interest and demand. We then did develop a diploma, although not mandated in the standard. It was a diploma that was created to actually support delivery in centres up and down the country, to be able to ensure that they were meeting the requirements that map directly to the KSBs through the use of a qualification, if they chose to get them on the right pathway in enabling the learner for their endpoint assessment. In terms of added value, we have 2 assured provision courses that can sit alongside this or embed within the apprenticeship programme. So there is the Sustainable Energy and Renewable Technologies course, or the further extended provision, which is again just slightly longer. And in terms of moving into the industry and the world of work, this really does need competency-based, obviously, as we're dealing with sort of quite important equipment. So it is about competency and skills. So the way into industry really is having completed the apprenticeship or BPEC course, the learner would get MCS registered, and they are then licensed to practice, and then would probably get endorsement with the NEIEC. Could I have the next slide, please? And just to delve in now, just in terms of the low carbon heating technician qualification and the apprenticeship progression. Next slide, please. So at each stage of the development, we looked at all of the different technologies that are available. Some of these would be quite familiar to a lot of you. So looking at solar thermal hot water, air source heat pumps, ground and water source heat pumps, underfloor heating, central heating, and unvented. Next slide, please. Now, the background to this development, the things that drove this project, much like what Liz has sort of hit on, there are 90 million homes that are currently rated with an energy performance certificate at D or below, and these all need upgrading to at least a C rating to improve energy efficiency and reduce carbon emissions. The target of fitting 600,000 heat pumps each year in the UK by 2028 comes from the government's 10-point plan for a green industrial revolution. So through industry-led insights, we have then got the level 3 low carbon heating technician apprenticeship, where NOCN were the first endpoint assessment organisation on the register for that. And the initial request from industry and further education for a training-based qualification to help with the delivery of the apprenticeship. So that just gives you some of the insights there. Next slide, please. And this slide really is to give you the visual representation of exactly what has gone into the development of this qualification, so that it gives you trust and faith in what you're delivering if you choose to do so by using the diploma to work towards the apprenticeship standard. So the units, learning objectives and the assessment criteria are all mapped directly to the duties and the KPIs within the qualification. So those would be the knowledge, skills and behaviours. Assessment strategy is written around the knowledge assessment with a multiple choice question test in mind, the knowledge assignment and projects, and professional discussion. There is also a scheme of work available with session plans, as well as resources that are unit-based, beg your pardon, and linked to the scheme of work. So that just gives you some of the rich resources that are available in terms of video links, PowerPoints and the like. And all of this provision has written, like I said, directly mapped to all of the KSBs, so that you've got confidence if you're delivering this qualification as part of the on-programme delivery, that you're actually meeting all of the KSBs required while they build a portfolio, move towards Gateway, and then take their endpoint assessment, so covering the insights for the practical assessment, the professional discussion, and the multiple choice assessment. Next slide, please. When we'd started to develop this qualification, it was large in part in strong collaboration, working with MCS, Microgeneration Certification Scheme, and established a working group that was based on the low carbon heating technician trailblazer and included further education. The process was aligning the diploma with the apprenticeship, and as the visual representation showed, cross-mapping the diploma content with the apprenticeship's KSBs, developed the assessment strategy for the qualification alongside the scheme of work and the session plans, and then furthermore, and more importantly, content and support material for tutors in colleges. Next slide, please. if I could now kindly hand over to Richard Love from Quantum to actually explore and share all of the insights around the bays. Thank you, Richard.
Yeah, hello. If I could have the next slide, please. So the quantum bays were specifically designed to provide practical experience. So we designed them from scratch to be live working systems as well as fault finding systems. The idea being that with any of the disciplines, you could get the real live experience of a fully functioning system. So what you'll find is that in any of the combinations, we do a working bay. So this is a bay that for instance, with the heat pump, has a fully functional heat pump with a central heating system and a live cylinder. All of this is livened up. The controls are industry standard. The installation is industry standard. And we would expect in this bay, the tutors to be able to explore all of the aspects of working on a modern live system, the pressurization and the monitoring of the flow. So within those bays, the tasks that can be done are all of the performance. So the idea, we're very strong on encouraging the commissioning. And so commissioning tasks can be carried out on that bay, monitoring of flow and return temperatures, etc. In the maintenance bay, now our maintenance bay was the bit really where we wanted to focus, because it's important that these installations don't become rarefied things that the students get to look at and not touch. So we wanted to make sure that within those maintenance bays, the tasks they'll be they'll be appropriate to the level of the students. But we wanted to encourage people to drain the system down, refill the system, exchange sections of pipework, so that the tutors can not only develop what they've taught from the theory, but actually be able to get hands-on experience on how to refill, how to handle the things like the unvented systems, to monitor the performance of them, make sure that the valves are doing what they're supposed to be doing. So to actually run these control systems, we expect in the maintenance bays, the installer maintenance bays, we expect the students to be resetting, recalibrating, actually involving in this modern kit, with the idea being they've got to see the modern equipment. So the central heating systems are live, they physically work, but we also wanted to make sure that with what we're finding in the industry is that a big problem is people not understanding how to approach fault finding and to work through that logically. So the third bay is a fault finding bay. So this will be an installation that isn't live, fortunately. It will contain errors. There are things within there which will be piped up wrong. And so the student should, by the time you've worked through all of the activities, have experience of monitoring and commissioning a functioning heat pump. Within the install and maintenance bay, they should be able to be drained down, refill, monitor the performance of the valves. And then in the heat pump fault finding bay, they should be able to identify the current faults. Have delivered this a couple of times, and people get very involved in working on the systems. So this is really where your plumbers and electricians can start to apply their prior knowledge. The systems knowledge that they bring into the bay helps them to actually understand the differences between a heat pump and a gas boiler. The system design differences are really important. We need to get that across. Our solar thermal bays again will follow that format. So you will have a live functioning bay with a remote heat source. You'll have a maintenance bay where again the students can drain down. On these systems, they're going to need to work out how to apply the antifreeze, how to monitor the antifreeze levels to make sure that they're appropriate. So this is all live. It's fully functional kit. It's industry standard kit. And we make sure that within the bays, they've got the equipment they need to be able to perform the tasks. It's really important that they also, like for instance, with the solar thermal, they will have a pump station. They'll also have a fill flush valve and the unit to refill the system from that valve. Things like actually monitoring the performance of your solar panel, working out the heat that's arriving on it and the temperatures, monitoring then those temperatures. It's important that the content that they get from their theory can be taken straight into the workshop. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like in function. And so as they build their theory knowledge, that can be instantly reflected. So whatever is covered in the course, we've made sure that it actually exists on the wall for the students to engage with. And again, you're going to have a fault finding example where the solar thermal is piped up wrong. And we found that very, very valuable to the students. Working out what was wrong with an install worked really well. The electrical ecosystem bays, you've got a whole range. The electricians will have a whole range of activities. To start with, you have the same format. We're going to have a live working system. We're going to have a system with which they can interact. And then we're going to have a system with faults in it, where the faults can be monitored and examined. Clearly, we've had to be quite careful. The electrical faults, with our plumbing faults, we might flood the place. With our electrical faults, we might electrocute somebody. So the faults have been very carefully set up to make sure that the health and safety, of course, is still maintained. Within that electrical ecosystem, we provide the test gear for the vehicle charger, so they can carry out performance tests on that vehicle charger. It has a remote setting that will test the RCD. So again, they can trip it out, make sure that the trip is working. Industry standard piece of kit. In the middle, you will see there's an inverter. So we will have a functioning inverter with 2 solar panels attached to it. And those solar panels, they can use the test gear which we provide, which can monitor the actual input that's happening from those, or the output from those units and the input into that inverter. Next to that, we also provide a battery with a smart charger. So the smart charger, we can demonstrate the way the smart charger monitors the charge coming in, monitors the demand from the main, and sits between. And the tutors can actually set up so that they can observe when the power outage happens, the unit will kick in, run from the battery. So we've got battery storage. You've got fully functioning battery storage that's monitorable. And you will also get live data from it. So it is state-of-the-art equipment. So the students again can see the screen, and they'll see that live update data projected onto that screen of what exactly that panel is doing, and they can monitor the performance of the panel. So our whole intent was to make sure that within each of these disciplines, for the plumbers and the electricians, and we're really encouraging both disciplines to work on both sets of kit. There is, I think the barriers are going to have to be removed a bit. We've got to remember that our heat pump is an electric boiler. And so we are relying more and more on the trades interacting with each other. And so it's very important that both the plumbers and the electricians get a chance to see all of these installs, because they are the way the industry is going. And we've made a point of making sure that we've used the latest press fit fittings. All of the equipment is current, and including the electrical stuff. But we've made sure that any equipment that's in there is up to date, it's modern, and is set up in the way that it will be physically set up on site. So it prepares the students for what it's going to look like, but it also demystifies it a little bit, because we've made sure that within each of those install and maintenance bays, they get a chance to interact, train the system down, run the system up, check the performance of various items. And within the equipment that we provide, it is possible, if the college wanted to, they can actually change sections of pipework and get some real life activity. But the commissioning side of it is exactly what we would do on site. So the experience is real. The experience is real on real kit, which is fully functional and live. And that was really the essence of what we wanted to achieve. We can pick up on any more of that if there is when we get to questions. Okay, I'll hand it over to the next person then.
Thank you, and good morning, everybody. So my bit was really just to talk about what sort of things have been come back to us as business development team. So obviously we've got the partnership with Quantum, and we've got the different green qualifications that we've got available and that Quantum have also developed with us. It was just what we're getting is we're getting people not sure what next steps are, what the progression routes are, what people can do if they've got a certain qualification, or if they've already got a basic knowledge, say, of plumbing or something like that. So what we're getting is we're getting lots of people not sure where to go next. So what we wanted to do today was we wanted to put this webinar on together to give you an idea of what the quantum bays were, what the qualifications are that are in development, and what qualifications we've already got. And then what you guys can do as centres or employers, you can reach out to the NOCN business development team and speak to us, and we can support you through it. One thing that we are looking at doing is we are looking at doing some sort of like progression of, so you can clearly see that if you did the intro, where you can go next, who that's for, whether it's maintaining, whether it's installing, what level of person needs to do which qualification. So we've got things constantly coming, and if there's things that you feel that you want, or there's stuff that you're not sure about, like I say, just reach out to one of the NOCN business development team, and we can support you with obviously what qualifications we've currently got and what's available. I have seen some messages in the chat about funding, as one of my colleagues alluded to before, that we are actually going through some moratorium funding for some of these qualifications. So if there's any support that you can give us with that, with it, writing a letter to say that there's an industry need for these programs to be funded, that will support us as well, obviously, with this funding that we're looking at getting. So it was just really understanding that obviously we've got the diploma and the apprenticeship for the low carbon heating, and what we've done there is we've made this diploma, which isn't currently funded, but it can support with the apprenticeship, which obviously is funded, and that helps you with the delivery of the apprenticeship standard. And that's really all I wanted to mention about the business development side, just that we're here to support, and obviously here to help with anything that you feel that you need within the green industry and anything like that. So that's my bit, really. Has anybody got any questions other than the ones that are in the chat?
I was going to pose a question to Richard, actually, just to get the ball rolling. So in terms of, say if you're a centre and you've got maybe other bays, and I know NOCN, apparently when you take a photo of the bays in the centre, that is obviously just giving that sort of okay for it to be run on different bays. That's right, isn't it? Taking a photograph to ensure that the course can be run if the bays aren't quantum bays. I understand that's something that as long as it's approved by NOCN, that the kit's fine, then that's okay. But in terms of other academic levels being taught on the bays, is that something, Richard, that can be done? If you're not doing a level 2, can other sort of levels of academic level be taught on the bays?
Yeah, one of the things that I do, because I do is I travel around and talk to tutors who are going to start using the bays. So one of the things I make really clear, level 2 or level 3 activities will fit in perfectly. At level 3, we're starting to talk about unvented cylinders. We've got an unvented cylinder there. At level 2, we're interested in basic system design. So you can bring out the system design and the particular requirements of a heat pump. And then at level 3, you can talk about physically how that heat pump works, and you can focus in a bit more on that and look at the pressure relief valve and this sort of stuff. So yeah, the as far as that's concerned, your knowledge of your curriculum that you want to cover for your various levels, absolutely fine. At level 1, you probably wouldn't get too involved, but you would definitely be able to take the level 1 class through what the kit was, what it looked like, and how it connected. So yes, essentially the tutors have got ultimate flexibility. Also, if they haven't got our bays for each of those disciplines, there are things that you could do as workarounds. And so yeah, essentially, from the feedback I've had so far and from discussions I've had with tutors who are starting to use the bays, the opportunities are there. It's just a matter of using your imagination a little bit and working out where your activities would fit within that structure. but yeah, absolutely, they're fully functioning systems. So essentially, you can go as deep as you like, or as on the surface, just turning it on and off, or drilling into what actually happens when you turn it on and off.
Richard, I've got a question.
Yeah.
What CPD do the tutors and the people actually teaching the learners on the equipment get? Is that something that you guys offer?
It is, yeah. We do a 2-day train the trainer. So what I'll do is I'll go in, we'll look at the course content. So I use the course content of this course as a template for delivering basic renewable energy training. That I need to tell the story. I get the tutors really to tell the story because they're following the same path I have. When back in the Middle Ages, when I started fitting gas boilers, we never talked about energy efficiency. So a lot of the tutors, that's a conversation we will have. We've gone on a journey, and I try and take the tutors on that journey as well. Focus on the basic physics, where we're talking about pulling out the core understanding of the renewable energy, why it's important, but also how these are the answers to that question. So I do a lot of pointers with that, and then the actual delivery of the bays, we produce a step-by-step guide. So if the tutors aren't super confident, I'll take them through it anyway. We've got 5 activities which we've set for each bay, and there is an actual handout with there's an actual handout with a step-by-step specifically designed for the tutors, just to take them through, point out this valve, this is where the water comes in, point out that valve, this is where the pressure relief is. So if the tutors aren't super confident, that's there for them. I give them some suggestions, and we work through. We normally get a good debate going, because the tutors realise about halfway through the training that 2/3 of it they already know. But what this is with the electrical and the plumbers, electricians and plumbers already know 2/3 of this. All we're doing is manipulating energy in a slightly different way. Once they get to start to understand that, then yeah, that helps a lot. So yeah, we do. We offer 2 days. We offer 2-day training to take them through the subject and to give them some real hints on how to approach the subject.
Also, Janine, as well, just to add, we're also developing as well a CPD accredited version of the Train the Trainer. So that's something that's in the pipeline as well, which will actually, enable tutors to sort of have that, accredited CPD. But that's sort of in the pipeline, coming soon.
We would also be in a position, this is sort of early days, that the colleges are starting to use the bays and see how that comes out. So we're also in a position to offer support. It's something that I've discussed a few times. If anybody wanted us to come back and support maybe the first time they run the session, that would also be possible as well.
There's a question just come in saying, I can assume there is a associated cost with setting up the quantum bays. So don't know who's that, Liz or Richard?
I don't deal with the money. I just talk about it. There's a cost, yeah.
Yeah, there is a cost associated with setting up the bays. I can get you in touch. I can get you the details of a lady who can give you lots of information about that. Is it Gary?
Gary.
I'll make sure I'll get you in touch with the person. No problem.
Jade's already over it.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah, Jade will be in there, don't worry.
Thanks.
Are there any more questions at all? Well, it looks like we're well ahead of schedule, so we are able to give you some time back for your precious time in your day. For any follow-up contact, please contact businessinquiries@nocn.org.uk, or within the Quantum Group, if you could email furthereducation@thequantumgroup.uk.com. And just to remind everyone, the slides and the recording will be going out over the next within the week. But thank you all so much for your time and for joining, and we do hope that you found it useful and informative, and look forward to having further conversations with you. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.